All right, welcome to Module 3. Let's get deeper into some of these optimization elements that we've danced around so far, and now we can dive right into. So we know that we have to ensure that our business information is up to date. That is that third piece in our dashboard there, info, the basics around our business that we have to pay attention to and continuously update so that we don't upset anybody that our hours are off or our address is wrong, etc. And then the posts piece, number 2, where we are adding in some original content at least once a week, if not more, that gives us additional real estate when someone searches for us or searches anywhere near our search terms, and we show up there with this post that's a beautiful live, like Facebook post built right into our GMB listing, which is awesome. So I really encourage you to utilize both of those things. But what else? Okay, the categories. This is where we're going to do some homework and we're going to determine what others are using in addition to what we think we should be using in order to rank higher. Then a good business description. This is your opportunity to sell it, to say it and sell it. 750 characters is a lot. You're going to want to use their language, not yours, which we'll look at in a minute. And then the photos, really important piece. Our website URL goes without saying. And then the baked in GMB website that we need to publish. It is just one of those final check boxes for Google to know that we've got a Google My Business website activated along with our regular website, which we'll look at in a minute here. And then reviews and a few other things within the platform. So let's dive back in and see some of these main elements. We've looked already at a few, as we've said, info and post. I'll come back to insights, but let's start with photos because it's a pretty basic one for most of us. Now, what you're going to want to do here is take the best photos of your business, interior and exterior, and you're going to want to drop those in here. And it's as simple as, blue check box, add some photos. Before you do this, here, a word of caution. Change the name of the file of each of those photos. It might take some time. If you know how to use Photoshop, you can do it all in one go or another program, but you're going to want to rename them with your business name because those alt image tags that's the name of the image, are also seen by Google. So when I go and I do a Google image search, Lululemon images, I'm going to see those images show up. Some of these I've input and some are from other people that are probably not the best shot and not the best lighting and not the best whatever, but it doesn't matter. This is all important for us or for the internet to see and to have. So what happens when we load up our own is great. We've, created our best photos. We've got our cover images. They get seen a lot based on how many times we're searched. We've put our logo in there just like it's asked us to. You can change that anytime. And then we've created a whole bunch of photos that show who we are and what we do. So further proof, social proof that we exist, that we're nice people, that we are, working with people of all stripes all across the land. And here's our various locations, et cetera, whatever that looks like for you. Optimized with the right alt tags. Those are the ones that are input by the owner of the business. No brainer. The ones that are input by customers are like a third-party endorsement, and they go far. So this is sort of an insider tip if you can. When we get into Google reviews, and I'm going to encourage you to ask 10 friends, even ask your mom and your dad and your uncle if you have to. Send them something to write as a review and say, yo, I need you to help me bulk up my list or my reviews here. Could you give me a 5-star? Hopefully they don't have the same name as you. But this is how we kind of get started. Reviews being so important, which we'll talk about in a minute. But if they can also upload a photo with their review, now you're laughing because again, that's what gets served up in search. And better if you're giving them the photo and it's a nicely lit indoor shot, an exterior shot, a 360 shot, whatever it is, than if they're uploading their own. So I have a 5-star policy that anytime I go somewhere and if I have shot a photo of, the Nordic Spa in Winnipeg, and it's a beautiful spot, and then I had Googled the address on my way there. So then lo and behold, Google says to me after, hey, Kelly, how was the Nordic Spa? Do you want to post a review? And I say, absolutely I do. And I don't post anything unless it's 5 stars because I feel like it's hard enough to be a business owner these days. So that's my policy. And then I post a photo photo to go with it. Well, as a result, I've become a local guide, excuse me, and those photos get seen a lot. It's ironic. My girlfriend's opened a boxing gym a few years ago, and I said, send me your best photos that you've just had professionally shot, and I will add them to my review, because my external third party, Joe Blow review photos will get seen more than your internal ones. So really encourage you to create some of those. These 360-degree photos, we hired someone to come in and shoot our campus with a 360 camera, and he uploaded them himself, which was really nice. But encourage you to, spend a couple $100 to get someone in to professionally shoot your space if you can. The external photos can be really important as well. Why? Because again, people want to know who they're working with and where they're going. I'm not going to go deep into transparency and authenticity and accessibility and all of that right now. But these are the themes of our content classes at Social School. Everything, as you know, about being human, being real, being authentic, and all of these tools that we have at our fingertips for free help us do that. So really flesh them out, and whatever videos you have that you can post and all the rest of it. You are just like me. I'm willing to bet that if we take off our business owner or marketer hat, and we put on our Joe Schmo hat, we want to know and trust who we're buying from and engaging with, especially in this era of distrust like crazy, of maybe tighter pocketbooks and budgets. If I'm going to spend my money with someone and I want to choose to shop local more than ever, and I really want to know the values of that company. Like it or not, it's how we operate today. It's a whole other class, so we won't go any deeper than that. So we've got our photos. Okay, let's go to reviews now, since we're there. So as you know, you're getting Google reviews or not, but it's time to start building those reviews and asking for them if you can. And then beyond that, are you responding to just the bad and pulling all your hair out and losing all your sleep and crying yourself to sleep because you got a bad review and now you have to reply to it? Well, again, that's up to you how you'd like to go about doing that. We've all been in that position, and it's a tough one to navigate. I'm going to say that the more authentic you can be, and don't be a doormat. I think that when someone sees that there is a negative review, and then that business owner or that colleague or employee weighs in with a bit of their side of the story without being a jerk, where you're not actually trying to discount that person's opinion. But, sometimes what can go a long way is, as we offered you a refund and we're so sorry you didn't have the experience you wanted. We're doing everything we can, and I'm glad that we discussed this offline, or whatever it is. Don't be afraid to talk about how, in nice, tight English, you don't have to go on and on, because that can work in reverse, doth protest too much. But just show anybody who's going to see that 1 or 2-star review that in fact you did everything you could, or that you've at least acknowledged it without arguing and being a jerk. Likewise, make all the friends in the world with those 5-star reviews. Whenever you can, weigh in and say thank you. If someone walked up to you in your shop and they said, that was the best spaghetti I've ever had in my life, you wouldn't just ignore them. You would respond, and you should be doing the same online. And the best thing about this is that, one positive response is scalable. Or one human, very cool interaction that is, enviable or kind of trust building, gets seen by so many voyeurs. And we do that. This is exactly what we do when we decide who to buy from or engage with, or what dentist to go, sign up for. We look at how they respond just as much as we do how others are posting about them. So really taking those to a new level if you can. Messages over here. Now, this is something you can choose to activate if you want, and you can then also embed it on your website. So much like if you were to have a chat bot, which is I highly encourage. There's so many of them out there. It sounds like a dirty word, but it's not. It's just a way to have an immediate kind of customer service aspect to your website. And why wouldn't you? I often say to our team, you guys, why wouldn't we have a chatbot on the front page and on every page, so that if someone needs help right then, when they're literally in the transactional state of mind or in the journey and the funnel, ready to buy and really close, shame on us if we lose them. So we're going to do all this work on the front end to develop incredible content and storytelling and photography and video and ads, throw money at the problem. And then they actually get to our website. shame on us if we don't convert them there and solve their remaining queries. If they're there, you and I both know this. If you're on someone's site and you're willing to fill out a question, you're probably ready to buy if you haven't already. Or it's just that final stage of like needing a little bit more before you flip to the other side. So this is where I would encourage you to have some kind of chatbot or messenger set up. Facebook Messenger is also allowing us to embed our Facebook Messenger chat on our websites now, especially if you're using Shopify. There's some really nice integrations there, but there's so many third-party bots as well. And I say bot, again, it sounds dirty, but it's sort of just what we call them. Messenger windows, you can set out of offices. You do not have to be available 24 hours a day. You can have automated responses for FAQs. You can have ones that go straight to an email if needed. But again, if you can, and you can alternate through your staff or through your team and just decide to prioritize it, you can stop thinking about it as this like, oh my God, I have to be always on answering my chatbot. Well, okay, but you know that you stop answering your phone sometimes too at your business. You can do that as well and just start collecting those queries as they come. If you don't want to use a third-party tool for that, you can look at the Google option because they have a really nice one there. And then you would respond and use this as your dashboard to respond to those queries if they are coming in. Photos we talked about. Okay, services. So under my info, remember that I created my categories, and I'm going to further do some research on that, but I've got my baseline categories in there right off the top. And then under those categories, as we talked about a module or two ago, my services. So really thinking about how this works. There are no shortage of, or how this can work for you. There are no shortage of kind of anecdotal proof and posts on the internet about how when somebody finally just edited and updated their categories and their products or services, they rose up the Google search rankings, especially in localized search. This can do wonders for you. Don't discount it. As I said earlier, this is where more is more. Not in the language that you're using as I've done here. You still want to keep it tight and succinct, but you can create more categories and more services than you probably thought you should or could. So don't be afraid of it, and really pay attention to how it changes your rankings in an incognito window to see if in fact it is making a difference. And if you did nothing else, that would be the place that we start. Okay, the website. Did you know that you have a built-in website in Google My Business? Is it ugly? A little bit. Is it better than nothing? Absolutely. And is it something worth having live just so that you can kind of tick that box and say, I did that, Google. Don't worry, I've ticked off every single piece of my profile. Rank me high. Yes, 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 and yes. So you can change the theme here. This is, again, it's just a baked-in website that is fairly ugly, but it's pulling everything that you would want from your Google My Business profile into this little page. So there's my header photo showing up, which I told in my photos to be the header photo. Here's some post updates. Look at this. I can manage posts or create one right there. So in essence, if you didn't have another website, this is a fantastic little like space on the internet for you. It's pulling in your offers and your posts. It's pulling in your reviews. It's pulling in, I've got to update this, but this is where I could put my business description that I've already pasted into the info piece. A gallery of imagery, my map location, address, powered by Google. They've given me this for free and the site is live. So I could go to, this is the baked in domain that they gave me as well, social-school.business.site. But if I had, the inclination to buy another domain, or if I had a secondary domain that I've already purchased for my site and I wanted to utilize it here, I totally could. Does it cause some confusion? It can. You don't want people finding this site instead of the other one, which is why I've just left it as the baked in Google domain, just so that, it is there for Google to know that I've taken up another place on the internet, but not many people are going to see this because I've optimized my parent website so well. So don't be afraid of this. It is a good idea to activate if you can and want to. Okay, let's go a little bit higher up here. Of course, you're going to want to get a hold of your users, and by get a hold of, I mean like, you know, make sure that you have control and you're the admin. We tend to all log in as Social School under our parent account, which is why I don't have a ton of people with access, but you can do it whichever way you like. Location. So if I'm going to add a new location, again, this is where I can, you know, see whether I've got my business already. Oh, and spelt wrong. Is it going to show me that I'm showing up? Maybe I should do that properly. It's going to tell you whether you already have a business that's showing up or whether you can create another one location-wise. So go ahead and, you know, decide what that looks like if you need it. Otherwise, you are going to find yourself in a pretty good position to just manage your existing locations. And this is where they'll be listed. Again, I've kind of got a funky thing going on here because I have two different businesses there, totally different parent companies. But if I had other physical locations, I would manage them from there, which is really important. The last thing you want to do if you're a franchisee or you are, you know, multiple locations of a certain restaurant or retail location or office is to have several different Google My Business accounts. No, you want several addresses or locations within your parent account is how you're going to best manage that page and not cause confusion. Otherwise, we've got linked accounts, settings. Don't be afraid of settings at any time. You've got to know what's in there and you've got to be able to go in and, again, change your notifications, make sure that you're getting the kind of information that you expect, and, of course, do whatever else you need to do in there. Okay, we've covered a lot. Let's see where we're at here. In terms of our optimization factors, we've talked about quite a few. If we go back here, those business hours, that website, reviews, the posts, easy, right? It's like we're getting to the final course of the meal. It's just check boxes. I'm not telling you that you've got to create a 12-month content calendar here and get on Instagram stories and IGTV and Reels. This is literally just like flesh it out. It's why I've really fallen in love with SEO and then with local SEO through GMB, because it's not as hard as we think. And when I finally decided that I needed to learn search engine optimization several years ago, and then we created a course around it, it was the most empowering piece of marketing that I'd ever been a part of, because so many of us are led to believe that this is like snake oil that only so-and-so can manage, or that, you know, we don't have the coding skills for. No, it's not hard anymore. It's very user-friendly, and Google needs it to be so that we can all have a fair shake at showing up in maps and just to create listings so that their maps are actually decent. All right, so a few other features to note. One of the pieces that can be a bit frustrating is user edits. So let's say that I am in, you know, someone's Google page. I'm going to look at the Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel, because hotels and landmarks can really kind of suffer by this the most, or festivals or whatever it is, more kind of public facing landmarks, those ones with the prominence that we talked about. So if let's hope that I get the GMB result here. I'm sorry that my internet is not cooperating, but I can have, you've probably seen it, the option to like suggest a user edit. And this can be really frustrating for the account owner who's like, why do I keep getting notifications that people are editing my hours for me? It is what it is. Google is a pretty open source platform. That means that, you know, it's collecting information from around the internet. We're allowed to post reviews. We're allowed to post our photos. And likewise, I can suggest an edit of anything I want to. If I'm lucky, or if hopefully the business has set itself up right, I'm going to be able to, let's see, write all reviews. Suggest an edit and provide feedback. Usually the business will get a notification. It's kind of like Wikipedia. You don't own your Wikipedia listing if you have one, or your business. Other people can edit it at any time. And then you can challenge it and re-edit it. And I've heard this from some businesses that say, like, people keep editing my listing and I have to keep going back into it. It's not as bad as it sounds. It doesn't happen for most of us very regularly, unless you're the Banff Springs Hotel or you know, the CN Tower perhaps. But as long as you have your notifications set up and you have admin privileges, you can stay on top of it. I have a sign behind me that says, if you don't tell your story, somebody else will. I apologize if I said that already. Either way, we need to be the ones who are managing and owning our brand, and aware of what's being said about us, and have the keys to go back and correct however we need to. Okay, so user edits can be a little bit frustrating, but if you need more information on that, there's plenty in Google My Business Help, and you can deal with it however you need to, and some of that too comes down to adjusting your users. Hotels, as we talked about, there are some categories of businesses that have additional kind of details that they can input into their listing, like property details, for example. This is kind of cool. If you look at the hotel attributes, if I say that I'm a hotel, they're going to say, okay, well, tell us more about your hotel. Likewise, if I'm a restaurant, I can determine whether or not I have curbside pickup or dine in or takeout or whatever. So it's not too difficult to navigate this, and you absolutely want to flesh it out so that you, again, get that additional real estate. If I'm searching boutique hotel dog friendly or free Wi-Fi, I don't know, Saskatoon, and somebody hasn't input that, they're not going to show up when that search query is utilized. So flesh out as much as you can in that hotel details section. Another kind of unique area here is that messaging piece. If you're going to use it, make sure you set it up properly and that you're not forgetting that it's activated. There's nothing more frustrating than trying to message someone because they've set it up and then they've forgotten how to use it. Or for a business to have like 4 different messaging apps and bots going on at one time and them not knowing which one is coming from where and who's controlling what. So stay on top of that. If you implement one and you're testing it, just be sure to write down how to go about canceling it or removing it if you need to. Okay, a bit of a ninja trick here. So how do we score an unfair advantage when it comes to outranking our competition with that whole business category selection thing? Because it has such an impact on how we rank. And the map pack being the main map, and then the pack of businesses that are suggested within it. So we can go in and utilize some of those keywords that we're targeting, and then pick a resulting business. From there, we can copy that title and go to Google Maps and paste it in so that we can actually, see where their listing is and how it appears. And then we can take a peek at that main category and see kind of what they've selected. If you're savvy enough to view the page source on something, then you can start to see, especially in Google Chrome, what it is they are, what it is they're saying. So let's go to Banff Springs Hotel. If I go to their listing here, and I paste this into Google Maps, and let's just try it right in Google Maps. Actually, I'm going to go into Google Maps, and if I can find, my internet is not loading it up. I'm sorry. What a slow day. And then I was to do a right click on this page, and I can inspect page source, and then I can do a Control F on that page, utilizing that main category that they're utilizing if I can find it. This is a bad example because the hotel has so many different additional parameters, but a simple Control find is what I would use when I get in there. But if I go option right click, oopsie, that's not it. It's in the wrong key. Here we are. Inspect. Then I can start to see what is coded into the back end of that page. And this is where I would say potentially Control F. And I would say just like, let's say, I don't know, hotel is going to be too common. But if I had paid attention to what categories they were using and showing up for, now I can go in here and find those throughout and probably find the spot where they're listing their categories. So that's a bit of a long way to do it, but this is where you're going to see the categories and services that they've input into their listing literally showing up for you. And this is not the best way that I've done it. I should be in a deeper search page, but it didn't quite search it properly. But either way, inspect source or inspect element is something available to all of us that we can see a little bit more about what someone has done on the back end of their website or, again, of their Google My Business map listing. So we can start to see that what they've selected, if that's relevant for us too, it might give us some tips or inspiration to use in our own categories. Or we can simply go back to stage one, what we looked at early on, and see the various parent categories that they've listed and that are showing in their map pack results. And then we can, go from there. Okay, so let's look at the workbook here. We've got a quick quiz, and then I want you to take yourself through the 3-second arrival test. What is it that someone sees immediately upon arriving at your business? First things first, what are the 3 parent GMB ranking factors? If you can think of those 3 words, very important for us to keep top of mind. And then which element has the biggest impact in your search ranking results? I'm just going to say it's categories. How many categories should I add? As many as you want. You! But paying attention to how they're working or how they're not. From what we know, it does not affect or, dilute one category if you have 15 others. The harder part is finding categories that exist that are relevant, and you don't want to mislead. So don't start adding categories that are in Google's kind of pre-built templated parameters and start just adding them because you think that might attract some eyeballs, because clickbait is horrible and people will be choked if they find out that you don't actually offer, dog-friendly hotel services or gluten-friendly food that you say you do because you wanted that category in your rankings. And then true or false, you don't need to worry about creating a free GMB website if you already have your own. Yeah, you don't have to. It's just one final piece of the puzzle that fleshes out your entire profile that Google's going to say, okay, this is a legit business, and they've gone that extra step. And again, you've done more than 98% of other businesses if you get that far. All right, very importantly, I land on your map listing or your search result, and what is it that I see, and do I understand what you have to offer? Straight up. I'm going to give you like 0.4 seconds of my goldfish-sized attention, maybe 3 seconds, but it's less than 9, which is a goldfish attention. And am I clear? If you confuse me, you lose me. And if you compel me, great, tell me more. I'm clicking. I'm phoning, I'm clicking through, I'm diving into your website, which is perfectly mobile friendly and fast loading, or your Instagram feed that I see showing up right below your website or above, and I'm falling in love with what I see, and I, more importantly, understand what it is you sell, make, or do. And if you don't, and this is where you need to ask your neighbors and strangers and friends, is it clear what I sell, make, or do, and what's in it for me? And if it's not, you need to go back a few steps. This is so important. Clarity, consistency across your platforms, and something that's going to compel me to take action. Could I go deeper if I tried? Could I go and find you in other places? And would that also further sell me to the point where I can't wait to pick up the phone and book with you or walk into your store? Do I know what to do next? Am I unclear of how to navigate from here? It's pretty easy if we fill out the Google My Business pieces of the puzzle, because directions and phone and all of those calls to action are right there. But oftentimes we get to the website and we don't even know what to do next. And I don't know, you know, but I don't know because I don't speak your language and I didn't build this site. So make it dead easy and clear upon landing on whether it's just your search result or your actual website. Your business description, I really encourage you to take some time to write this out. Like push pause and just do it. And it's hard to get going with, but the more that you can start to shape it and optimize it and then input it into your listing sooner, the quicker you'll show up for all the right reasons. The keywords that are used in here, again, are not jammed in inorganically or inauthentically. You're using the search query terms that people would use because that makes sense, and that's what Google's going to crawl in your business description, but you're not speaking like a robot. You're building this page and this profile for users, for humans, to read more about you and understand what's in it for them, what you do, and why they should care. What are your business categories? Ready, set, go. This is your time to do some research, to see what other people are utilizing in theirs, but really what makes sense for your own, and go in and flesh them out. It could take you half an hour, maybe 5 minutes. This will be the biggest impact you can have on your GMB profile. And then likewise, what products or services exist under each of those and how much additional information can you add? Okay, we won't quite go to the checklist yet, but start with those sort of 3 workbook exercises and see how you can see how you do and what maybe you can implement right away. And then I will see you in module number 4. We just have 3 to go. Great job. We're past the home stretch, and see you there.